What's up guys, today we're going to be reacting to a video on Courtney Ryan's channel to answer the age-old question, how do women really feel about sugar daddies? Did you guys know that according to YouTube analytics, over 70% of the people who watch our videos have not subscribed to the channel? So before we get into this video, I want all of you guys to hit the subscribe button and comment below, I subscribe, and we will do our best to personally respond to every single comment. So I stumbled upon this video on Courtney's channel, got me thinking, how do women really feel about sugar daddies? And I think this video is gonna really drive the point home, and I'm gonna give my 2 cents as well. Now, if you guys are not familiar, Courtney Ryan is a popular YouTuber, and she's been on our channel, so she has a lot of good stuff, so check out her channel. But anyway, let's jump right into this, and this story is gonna be pretty funny.
Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I'm Courtney Ryan, and today we're doing something very different than I've ever done on my channel before, but this story was just too good not to share with all of you, and I think there are some lessons and wisdom to be learned here today, so let's get started. So recently I went to Miami and I sat next to a sugar daddy and his sugar baby at dinner, and I'm gonna tell you what happened because it was so cringe. The conversation was just one of the most
Courtney Ryan met Fresh Prince CEO.
Cringy things I've ever had to listen to. And it was one of those situations where it's cringy and you want to stop listening, but you just can't. There's just something in your brain that's like, no, keep listening, enjoy your dinner, enjoy the entertainment next to you. And so that's what I did, and it was just too good not to share with all of you. So I'm from the Midwest. I live in Cleveland, which is very different than Miami. I honestly felt like I was on another planet. So obviously dating can be different depending on where you are in the world. I would say that dating in the Midwest is very different than it is in a Miami or in LA. I think that it's a bit more competitive, a little bit more superficial. Of course, not for everyone, but just generally speaking, the Midwest for dating is much different than Miami. And it was very evident from the 4 days that I was there and from this conversation that I overheard. So we're sitting there, dinner's going great, we're at a very nice place. It's, you know, a little bit upscale, it's very nice. This couple walks in, they sit right next to us, and on one side is like a row of booths, and I'm on the booth side, and all the women are sitting on the booth side, and then all the men are sitting in the chairs across. So they sit down, and the first thing he says so loudly that, like, I think half the restaurant heard him was, "I'm so glad all the men are sitting on this side so they can see how sexy you are." The girl looked mortified, number one. I probably looked mortified. I think half the restaurant was like, okay. So at this point, I knew we were going to be off to a great start, and I was going to have a great entertainment piece sitting next to me to enjoy my dinner. So dinner's continuing. I'm trying not to eavesdrop the entire time. I'm also sitting and talking to Teddy across from me, but he noticed it too, and then after we left, we had a really lovely conversation about it. But then they're talking about the night that they're going to spend together or whatever. He says something about how he wants her to come back to his place. I almost can't believe this is a true story sitting here and telling you this because I've never heard desperation like this in my life. So she proceeds to—
As a side note, I see shit like this all the fucking time in Miami. To me, like, even she's from the Midwest, so this is unusual to her. To me, this is totally fucking normal.
To tell him that instead of staying the night with him tonight, she would rather drive an hour and a half back to wherever she lives in Florida instead of staying the night with him. And he did not like to hear this. He was like, oh, I bet you'll change your mind, trying to bribe her with dinner and whatever. She's like, I'm not hungry. She ate anyway, so I don't know why she said that. Probably just because she didn't want to stay the night with him. But it was just so obvious that she was not into him at all, and he was like obsessed with her. Even so much so at one point he grabs her hand at the table and says,
"This is so sad." And I think this is, on the guy's part, this is coming from a place of scarcity and neediness. Right? This guy has no options in his life. He can't get laid. He has all this money, but that is not equaling to him girls. This is why I've always disagreed with this popular red pill idea that once you get your finances in order, you know, your dating life will sort itself out. No, I see plenty of guys who are way richer than me. Like, we're talking 1000x richer, but the results are 1000x worse.
I love you, baby. And she doesn't say it back. She just sits there in silence. Like, how much more obvious can it be? The entire dinner, and I'm not even being dramatic, he sat and bragged about how much money he makes, about all the people that work for him and how they make millions of dollars and how he's gonna buy her all this stuff and about how expensive dinner is, and he's just going.
This is really, really lame game. And this happens on a smaller level on regular dates. Like a guy goes out with a girl and he starts bragging about his accomplishments and whatnot. This will immediately turn a girl off. Do not ever do that. Now, there's a difference between a girl subtly finding out on her own that maybe you have a successful business, you have a nice car, and you telling her that you have a nice car. Those two things are completely different in terms of the emotional effect they will have on a woman, right? So you never ever want to brag. Like, that is extremely low value because it just screams that you don't feel like you're good enough by yourself, that you need to impress her with these other things. It just screams low self-esteem and low self-worth, which is very unattractive.
Going on and on and on the entire time. And at this point, like, I don't like this guy sitting next to him.
And as a complete side note as well, when you're on a date with a girl, don't keep talking about yourself. Shut up and let her talk. You're much better off just asking the girl questions than talking about yourself. Like, even if they're boring questions, that's still going to be better in terms of your overall chance of sleeping with a girl if you're just asking her a bunch of random questions than telling her a bunch of random facts about yourself, because she does not give a shit. She doesn't care about how much money you make. She doesn't care about all the people you've accomplished. Like, that does not matter to her. It's going to bore the fuck out of her. And if she's an attractive girl in Miami, she's heard it thousands and thousands of times.
I don't even know him. I've never even interacted with him, and I can tell he's just awful. She barely spoke. She was on her phone. She was just like not into him at all, and it was so incredibly obvious. So why am I telling you this story? You're like, Courtney, this is juicy, it's entertaining, but why are you telling me this? Because this man just probably spent $500 on a dinner for a girl who was clearly disgusted by him and wanted absolutely nothing to do with him, and I don't want this to happen to any of you. And I think in places like this, it's incredibly common. Again, would I see this in the Midwest? Maybe, but probably not. In Miami, like, this was just one dinner. I was there for 3 days and I saw this, so I'm sure that it's very common down there, and I think that this is happening a lot. There's obviously a market for it. There's a ton of sugar daddy, sugar baby, millionaire match type of websites where people are doing this. But there's a couple different things I want to talk about here.
Courtney's completely right. This shit is completely on the rise. More and more guys are becoming sugar daddies, especially as, you know, the country becomes more prosperous. A lot more people are turning to this kind of way to get girls, right? Because they're like, fuck, like, I have money. Maybe I can use it to, get me pussy, right? But, you get results like this.
One was the fact that he felt like he had to brag and like rub his money in her face the entire night in order for her to like him. Is just sad, and I would hate for any of you to act that way or to feel like you needed to act that way with someone, because the person that you should want to be with would not require you to act like that. And honestly, it just made him look even worse. And I was thinking to myself, I know that so many men go on first dates and feel like they can't be themselves, feel like they can't be authentic, feel like they have to pretend to be someone they're not in order to impress someone that clearly doesn't even like who they are. And that was what I saw firsthand, and I don't want any of you to feel like you need to do that. And if you go out with someone and you feel like you have to do that, they're just not a good match for you, and that's okay. Not every single person.
I would say it has a lot less to do with them not being a good match for you and much more to do with you having low self-esteem. You not actually believing that you're good enough, right? Because no girl is going to be a good fit for you if you're doing stuff like this. You can go on 100 dates and you will have 100 bad dates, again, because your strategy is terrible, right? Like, so I think it has a lot less to do with fit, a lot more to do with just who you are.
You go out with is going to be a good match for you, but I promise you, you will not have to act like that in order to get someone to like you that you should want to like you. And it didn't even work anyway. She was clearly and utterly disgusted by this guy and was so obviously just using him for his money and a free.
So Courtney basically just answered the question. You guys can see the rest of the video on her channel. Basically, the question is, how do women feel about sugar daddies? And this is a little bit of an extreme example, but generally speaking, women have no respect for guys who do shit like this, who lead with their wallet, right? Because again, it implies that you have very low self-esteem. You don't think that you are good enough by yourself. Now, I can tell you that I banged quite a few chicks off, sugar websites, And I hear stories like this all day, every day. You know, like, oh, wow, yeah, I went on this date the other night with this like multimillionaire. He spent the whole night, you know, bragging, blah, blah, blah. I gave him a kiss on the cheek and here I am banging you, right? Because again, sometimes a girl might even bang a guy like that. She's not gonna be into the sex, but if she thinks she's gonna get money out of it, like women will not respect you if you carry yourself like this. So at best, after dropping hundreds, if not thousands of dollars, you might get laid, but you'll never get a solid relationship because the only thing that the girl values in you is your money, because that's how you let. So this is a horrible, atrocious dating strategy. And I understand that, you know, the dating marketplace is extremely competitive, so guys are trying to get every possible edge, and guys who have money, they're like, well, maybe I can use that to my advantage, but this is not how you do it. Do not lead with your wallet. Don't do that. It's only gonna hurt your chances. It can't really help in any way. You're better off at that point just literally getting a prostitute and paying for sex. Like Courtney said, that guy dropped $500 on dinner at least. Like, you know, I'm not advocating, you know, paying for sex, but at that point, why not just spend $500 on a prostitute? At least you're gonna get what you want, than going on a date with a girl who doesn't respect you, you know, acting like a fool, making yourself look like an idiot, and not getting anything to show for it. That just seems like literally the worst of all worlds. Like, so at that point, like, either learn game and actually go out and run proper game, or just pay for sex. But doing this weird middle ground where you try to use your money to game chicks is only gonna lead to situations like this. All right, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, found it valuable, and show us that you're not a sugar daddy by smashing the like button, hitting subscribe, and clicking the bell for notification. I promise it won't cost you anything. It'll give you much better results than doing shit like this. Thank you guys for watching, and until next time.